I'm Joe Duffy of OffshoreInsiders.com, and along with Troy West of TroyWins.com. Here we are with the NBA preview show. We are going to preview games for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There are no NBA games Monday. They very rarely go opposite of the national championship game. I think 1 or 2 years they had like one game, but they have taken the entire portfolio off. So we will preview Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And before I do get to Detroit and talking about the Tuesday games, remember, make sure you subscribe to the Sportsbook Reviews YouTube page. I know I'm preaching to the choir in most cases, but if you're not already subscribing, do that right now. All kinds of great information. Baseball season's here. Of course, the college basketball season is about to wind down. I know there was tremendous information there. And then, of course, football season's going to sneak up on us sooner than we know it. So make sure if you're not already subscribed to the Sportsbook Reviews YouTube page, you do it now. Also, feel free to comment. Please, if you like these videos, give us a like. That's going to help us in the search engines and whatnot. And any questions or comments you have, please put them in the comments section. Well, Troy, like I said, nothing on Monday. We're both going to go undefeated Monday in the NBA. But how about the Tuesday portfolio?
Yeah, Joe, we're at that point in the stage where, like you said, there's so many little games left, and what games matter really comes down to it. I am going to go look at two marquee games on Tuesday. You've got Toronto traveling into Cleveland. Cleveland gets a push or a cover last night against Dallas, depending on what your line was. They come back and win that game by 11. Cleveland at home. They won this game last time the two teams met. Cleveland had the outstanding comeback. I'm going to go with Cleveland again to get this game. I think it means more to Cleveland than it does Toronto right now. Toronto, I think, is more or less looking to rest their players up, lock in that number one seed, and move into the playoffs, where Cleveland's still very much in get-right mode. Kevin Love's been back in that lineup. They're tweaking some things. Tyronn Lue's back. Cleveland's really in that get-right mode. So I like Cleveland in that game. I think you're going to get that line right around a pick 'em. Maybe Cleveland a slight favorite, but I like Cleveland in that game. And then the other one is Oklahoma City and the Thunder meeting once again. Oklahoma City has really owned this series, and they've dominated the Warriors throughout the course of the year. The Warriors are slowly getting their players back, but Oklahoma City coming off another big win yesterday against the Pelicans. And I think this is a team that really can make some noise into the playoffs. They're not only fighting still for that playoff spot, but they're also fighting for seeding. So I think the edge goes to Oklahoma City in this game at home. Russell Westbrook seems to get up anytime Kevin Durant comes into town. I like the Thunder in that one as well. So just those two games, the marquee games, the Thunder and the Cavaliers both at home.
All righty, Troy. Well, a couple of situations I'm looking at Tuesday. So far, my presumed tanking angle has held up pretty well this year. Again, I like to explain it once every single video. Basically, the last 2 years, it's become the perception that teams are tanking. Now, what are the ramifications from a handicapping standpoint? The truth is that teams with a winning percentage of .310 or less, playing teams with a winning percentage of .390 or above, are actually pretty good plays. And, in fact, to the tune of 242 and 174. And when those teams have at least 54 losses on the season, it's 22 and 6. So that would benefit on Tuesday the Hawks versus the Heat, the Blazers versus the Grizzlies. Also, the Raptors and the Cavaliers. Remember, the NBA, like most sports, is a regression to the mean. I say it time and time again. College football is the one exception where that seems to be more of a momentum sport. The other sports, including baseball when it comes to money lines, are more about regression to the mean. So teams with a -5 or worse against the spread margin for the year, that is, how much they average covering a game by or not covering a game by, are a good play at 1652 and 1 and 1447. That would favor the Cavaliers. Pacers are playing their 4th straight road game against the Denver Nuggets. And the Bulls and the Hornets, as I said, this is more of a precautionary thing where you don't want to necessarily have a knee-jerk reaction rather than a quote-unquote contrarian angle, because it hits at less than 52%, although over a couple thousand games. But a lot of people are going to look at the Bulls, Hornets, the stats, and they're going to say, hey, that's probably an over. But teams that go over by an average combined, the two teams combined by at least 5 points per game, are actually generally an under. Again, I'm not going to make an underplay based on that, but I think a lot of people out there, the public, are going to look at the stats and say, oh, two high-scoring teams, it's an over. And I do warn you that the computer and history says otherwise. Well, Troy, how about for the Wednesday card?
Yeah, Joe, just two games. The first one I'm looking at, I was wrong about this game yesterday. You know, the 76ers playing without Joel Embiid, I thought would take a big step back. They didn't yesterday. They got a huge cover and big win on the road at Charlotte. Now they're on the road at Detroit, but I think this Detroit matchup's a very tough matchup for them. Without Joel Embiid, you got to go down and face Drummond and Blake Griffin down low. I'm not sure who matches up well for the 76ers in that matchup, and it's a big game for Detroit. So I like the Pistons at home in that one. And then the other one I'm actually looking at is the Miami Heat on the road against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not sure where the Hawks fall into your tanking angle, but boy, this is a bad basketball team. I know you know Atlanta quite well over there, Joe, but this is a bad basketball team, a big game for the Heat, and Atlanta can't seem to win a basketball game right now. So I think the Heat go into Atlanta and get the cover and the big win. And like I said, I like Detroit at home. I think the 76ers eventually do take a step back. And I think the 76ers going into the playoffs, these last few games, yes, right now they are the number 3 seed and they still want to lock up that spot. But I think they're going to start resting some players and get some guys in the right positions going into the playoffs, having much more meaning in these final regular season games. So Detroit and the Heat on Wednesday.
Yes, and in fact, they play those back-to-back situations, the Heat and the Hawks. And although I don't have any other additional stuff for the Wednesday portfolio, you brought up a tremendous point, Troy, as far as the Joel Embiid injury. For years and years, I've always believed that the first game, maybe the first 2 games, but certainly the first game after a injury of a key player, the teams rally around it, and maybe the other team gets a false sense of security. But yeah, the bigger picture, I think, from now till the end of the regular season, which there are only a few games left, but definitely handicapping that Joel Embiid injury is big. And just because the 76ers look great in 2 games without him, teams tend to rally around that, and definitely, usually there is a point of diminishing return. So I do look as a general rule of thumb for the 76ers to perhaps start to fall back a little bit and maybe be a little bit of a go against until Embiid returns, and it's going to be right around the beginning of the playoffs. They say about 2 weeks. So yeah, he might return for game 1 of the playoffs, but probably is going to miss the first game or 2, and that's going to be really, really big thing for us handicappers to look at. How about for the Thursday card, Troy?
Yeah, just 2 games for Thursday, and this is for the viewers out there. These are a couple of games that you really got to look at lineups going into Thursday, but you got Golden State at the Pacers. I like Golden State in this game. If Golden State's going to indeed play Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, they have started to play those guys, and they've looked much better as of late. And as I said in previous videos, I think Golden State's one of those teams that are going to play these guys a high amount of minutes only because they've had so much time off due to injury, and I think they got to get that stamina level up going into the playoffs. I'm not sure rest benefits Golden State at this point. I think it's the get right scenario where they need to get right going into the playoffs. And the other one is Portland at Houston. I think this game may have no implications for Houston. Houston, I think, is going to be locking up that number 1 seed, obviously, and going into the playoffs. They're a team that I think you may see James Harden get some rest. You may see Chris Paul get some rest. Mike D'Antonio has said that he's not going to rest players, but I think that could be a cop-out. I think they will rest some guys and get them right in the playoffs, where Portland, on the other hand, may need this game more, and I think they keep their lineup in. So I would be siding with Portland and the Warriors, but obviously this is prohibited on the lineups that we see Thursday. But just those 2 games. But keep an eye on what you expect from what Houston's going to throw out as a starting lineup and what Golden State throws out as a starting lineup.
And a situation I'm looking at for Thursday, Minnesota and Denver. Again, about 70% of the time when there's a big rest advantage, it usually benefits the home team, but the other 30%, when it's an exception, that usually that's not taken into consideration and you get an extra point. The home court advantage, the normal home court advantage does not apply. That will be Minnesota versus Denver, road teams with at least 2 more days rest. A very impressive 567. Well, not a very impressive, but a pretty impressive 567 and 488 against the spread. That would benefit Minnesota. And again, Denver might be more used to the thin air, but Denver will be the less rested team in playing in that high elevation. Well, Troy and I are going to return on Friday. Looks like, both of us had done some traveling. I think we're going to get a little bit back into our normal schedule. Of course, as I said, the end of the NBA regular season is almost here, but the NBA playoffs are around the corner, and I know Troy and I will have all kinds of great information for you. In fact, to be honest with you, at least from my standpoint, there are a lot of things that apply in the postseason that don't apply in the regular season. So you're hearing me reporting, repeating some angles that have been winning, by the way, but you do hear me on each report repeating some angles. Well, I'm going to have some new ones when the NBA playoffs are here. But Troy, why don't you tell them what you can get, what they can get, our viewers can get at TroyWins.com.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. We got a real nice Final Four sweep with Michigan and Villanova. We got a real nice play on the championship game tonight. Off to a little bit slower start in baseball, but we're very much in full speed as far as MLB goes. So come take a look at TroyWins.com, and I truly believe we're going to have an outstanding NBA playoffs too. So come take a look. That's TroyWins.com. Happy to give you a free trial as always.
Yeah, and guys, check the website, offshoreinsiders.com. I don't even have the exact stats in front of me, but going back to August the 28th, it's been just an absolutely ridiculous run that I've been on, including 19-4 lately in basketball as we do file this report. So visit offshoreinsiders.com each and every day. I've been picking baseball already. I've had some big underdogs cash in Major League Baseball. That's at offshoreinsiders.com. And Troy and I will talk to you again here at Sportsbook Review on Friday. We'll preview the weekend card.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.